Today on Urban Reality, we are highlighting the Haryana government's constant attempt to dilute the Natural Conservation Zone or NCZ earmarked as Aravallis. Even though it was agreed in December 2016 that revenue land categories known as the Gair Mumkin Pahad identified as Aravallis by the Ministry of Environment notification will be applicable across the NCR. Well, again, the Haryana government has proposed to set up a committee to identify what is forest and what is not forest. Now, there is, of course, a lot of fear around what could be the outcome of this. But let me just go back to my panelists, Dr. M. Ramachandran, Chetan Agarwal, Avikal Somvanshi and Ritvik Datta. Avikal, what is the impact? I mean, CSE has come out with several reports on the depleting groundwater quality of many of these urban sprawls, including Gurgaon. And the more natural conservation zones we lose, what is it that we are staring at?
So, as we know, Gurgaon and Faridabad are one of the most polluted areas in the country. They are not better than Delhi for sure. And as we lose these major forest covers and green lungs of the region as such, it will only make the situation worse. So, groundwater is depleting and groundwater is polluted. The topography of the area has a lot of nitrate and fluoride in it, and we are digging out a lot of water through bore wells, and it's actually making the groundwater worse, and it's also dropping every year. And our study a few months back found that more than 130 water bodies have disappeared in Gurgaon itself. And Faridabad we have not looked into, but it won't be any better. So there's an extreme water shortage and scarcity in the region. If we lose Aravallis, it's only going to get worse. And there's extremely high air pollution in the region. And if you open up these mountains, which are also really dusty, and allow construction activities, which are one of the major sources of air pollution in the region, this will only compound and make the region more unlivable.
So, Avikal, you've actually summed up the situation. I mean, air is terrible that we are breathing, and of course, water quality is deteriorating. Water bodies, including in this forest report and survey which has come out within the forest regions of Haryana, is also going down. Chetan, we're staring at a pretty scary situation, isn't it?
Yeah, Gurgaon is losing groundwater at the rate of 1.5 meters per year on an average. And the Aravallis have approximately double the groundwater recharge rate than the plain areas because of the cracks and fissures. So Aravallis recharge about 2 million liters per hectare per year. So if we just value that at even 10 paise per liter, Aravallis gives us about 2 lakh rupees worth of recharge a year, or about 25 lakh rupees in NPV terms. So just for that selfish reason alone, we should be protecting the 10% of the Aravallis that we have in Gurgaon and Faridabad. And from a revenue potential, protecting Aravallis is a revenue neutral decision. There's 90% land still where you can spread the city out. So rather than giving 10 more licenses in the Aravallis, if you give it in the plain areas, the government doesn't lose any revenue. There's no revenue loss, and there's all the environmental services to be gained. So it's a no-brainer. The only problem is some people are holding on to Aravalli land which has been privatized. These are privatized common lands, and they will make a windfall gain. What's worth 10 lakh rupees an acre will become 10 crores an acre. And it's that, that greed which is just driving the Aravalli policy of Haryana government right now.
So where there is so much land, Ritvik, to be given away, why give away it to the real estate lobby or any other lobby? I mean, we're trying to create recreational zones, trying to change the definition. Part of Aravallis, what is the game here? I mean, is it just plain greed and profit? Why is the state government fighting so hard?
Right. It's very important, you quoted a figure of the increase in forest cover. I think I just want to say that in reality, there's an increase in tree cover. If you actually look at the figures deep, there is no actual increase in forest in India. And what is very unfortunate there is that we are today going to lose a very important forest for something like a real estate development, which is not permissible under the Forest Conservation Act. So what Haryana government is doing is something very interesting. If you actually apply the Forest Conservation Act, you cannot use it for housing and real estate. So therefore, for them, they are going to treat it as not being a forest area so that they can allow this real estate to happen. We today, last 3 years, the present government has diverted forest equivalent to 663 football fields every single day. So it's a very shocking number in terms of forest loss. And what is shocking is the fact that in states where it is already very low, we are giving up that forest for real estate development, which is the case of Gurgaon. And I just want to end. I think it's not an issue of environment. At the end of it, it's about the overall quality of life. India is 180 out of 180 countries in terms of environmental health. It's the lowest in the world. And the NCR region is the critical area. So we are the worst performer in terms of environment when it comes to the global community. And I think it's time for us to really recognize that, you know, we can't lose even an inch of forest in this critical area, and at least not for shopping malls and multiplexes and high-end apartments. These are not housing for the poor. And that, I think, is something which we have to keep in mind.
Very cognizant of. Well, Ritvik Datta, thank you very much for joining us. Chetan Agarwal, pleasure to have you with us. Avikal and Dr. Ramachandran, thank you for your views. Well, the Regional Plan 2021 for Delhi NCR has already zoned all Aravali areas as natural conservation zones. Even anything outside, which is Gair Mumkin Pahar, is a forest area. It's now up to each one of us to ensure we don't let these zones be sacrificed to just real estate and mindless development, and keep raising our voices against any such efforts. And that's our attempt here on Urban Reality. Thank you very much for joining me.